Hi there, game reviewers out there. I am Splatypus, and this is my game review series. And today on my little program, I'm going to be reviewing a game that released on multiple platforms, but I'm going to talk about the Dreamcast version of it. What would that game be, you ask? Why, Disney's 102 Dalmatians Puppies to the Rescue. For those uninitiated, this game involves two of the 101 Dalmatians. One named Oddball, one named Domino, who, while out searching for treasure, find out that old Cruella de Vil is back at it again with another sinister plot. And try not to act surprised if it involves dogs. More accurately, hitting them with something called super gloop, freezing them in place, and selling realistic animal toys out of them. Honestly, it beats skinning them alive, all things considered. All but Oddball and Domino get captured, and it's up to them to rescue their family and save them from being the next kid's collectible. Anyhow, whichever canine you decide to play as, their controls are basically the same. They have a run, they can tumble, they can bark to send enemies flying far, far away, sort of like Spyro, if Spyro couldn't fly, of course. You can use tumbling to your advantage to save your fellow canine companions, or, alternatively, collect 100 bones, if that need be the case. Also, side tangent, you can angle the camera, where however you please to make a puzzle less hard, or more tougher, depending on your, skill sets. There are also checkpoints in case you accidentally, lose a life. That's namely happens if you get hit 4 times. Oh, and in case you're curious as to how to proceed a level, in case you're illiterate or you don't have an instruction booklet, there are characters in-game who may instruct you on how to, proceed. Other times they might explicitly give you a challenge, just to see if you are indeed worthy of something or other. And to think, this game was developed by Toys for Bobs and published by Eidos Interactive. That's right, 2 iconic heavy hitters in the video game industry. And to the best of my knowledge, both of them owned by, a company whose name dare not be mentioned. Alright, and, for those curious about those release dates, November 14th, 2000, if you live in the US of A, Canada, or Mexico, and December 20th, 2000, if you live across the pond or some other faction of Europe. Yeah, I know, there's no Japanese release, in case you're curious as to why I didn't say, but what about if those in Japan? Yeah, sorry about that. But in all seriousness, this game can be both fun and egregious, especially when you're bouncing around that pinball level, or toy factory level. If you're not careful, you could end up stuck there for a good while, basically bouncing around all over the place, hoping that at some point someone hears your pleas for help and puts an end to this whole entire nightmare that is bouncing around a basic pinball table. Although I guess I should have told you, at some point I usually tend to grade these games. How does this work? Well, if the game got a 0 out of 25, I'd give it an F. 26 to 50, it'd get an E. 51 to 65, not so nice, it'd be a D game. 66 to 75 is a C game. 75 to 85, B game. 86 to 90, D5 is an A game. And lastly, the remaining top of the list, all the way up to 100, A+. Wait, sorry, S tier game. I think that's how it's pronounced. And how do I go about this, you say? Oh, simple. Math. Now, enough meandering around, let's get to the fun part, the mathematics, and whether or not this game is good or not worth the buying time. For the game's story, I gave it a 70. Look, it's nothing I haven't heard of before, and yet it's done in such a way that makes it special, you know. Gameplay, I gave it a 75 because, well, in spite of what I said earlier, some gamers may also find some of the challenges more easy at times rather than hard. Yeah, including the pinball thing. Game music-wise, look, I'm not much of a music listener to games at times. I mean, look, I love game OST as much as the next guy, but I really did not get around to them. This one, for the sake of the review. So, from what I heard, limitedly at least, 70. Kind of a bouncy, fun vibe. And with all that into consideration, the game would get a score of 215, which you would think is a lot, but oh, trust me, I take all three numbers and try to get a mean, or an average, out of all three. So this means we're not done with the math yet, as it's time to divide, which gives the game a final total of 71.6. So yeah, while it's not lighting the world on fire, per se, it's not a terrible licensed game, as far as licensed games go. Sometimes things may look too easy, sometimes things may look too hard, and may make as much sense as pineapples, whatever that was. But if you have enough scratch to buy it, it may or may not be worth your time. That's all depending on how much of a gamer or how willing you are to spend time to yourself alone. And play video games, of course. Now that that's all taken care of, this has been the Splatypus Game Reviews. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go make myself something to ingest. Catch you all probably later on the next review. Splatypus out.